Not everybody has it.
I just lived out in that scene, having to take the trees, you have a guilt. You can fall up and stay up, it's messing with you. Even if he didn't mean to jinx you. Kind of had one in the back. Yeah, I was like, how in the world did it do that?
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I checked on Amy today, she's doing better.
Is she good?
Slow but sure.
We talked to Jeff Friday night.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I
He's
think.
gonna be there ready to do the wedding on Saturday. He got there.
I wondered, I saw the picture and I thought,
And we got a phone call from Tim the next morning, he said, this and that. You'd be upset if you can't make it. I listen, he's gonna be right with you. He needs to stay there with her. Just, you come do it, and then he calls me back and he says, what do I wear? How do I dress for this? And I said, Tim, the most important thing I can do is put clothes on.
don't wear shorts.
If you show up with your bathing suit or birthday suit, either one, we're going to be sorting this point. He's trying to say, casual, and when he got there, I told him, man, I said, how did you show up with his jersey? And he said, I actually had one on. He said, Crystal coffee.
Crystal will make sure you.
Yeah, I had a feeling when I looked at you, we could say Crystal was awesome. That's something we can discuss here. That's what I'm you would read, yeah, that's not the clothing policy. It's on here when I have to.
What is she talking about?
Invitation is the best form of flattery when it comes to policies and ordinances and things like that. So you can generally get something that makes the city attorney look good, go through it, and it gives you a really good starting place. You know what? You know what, I think we got enough going on between both of you, we can pray for both of you. I think in fact, we might be good to stop about halfway through, just have a little prayer and get through the rest of All right, good evening, everybody. Glad that you're here for this. Let me just welcome you again. Appreciate all of you coming out for this council meeting. We always appreciate your presence here and input. We just give you some thanks for that. If you will, let's stand and do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, as we gather here this evening again, we give you the praise and thanks for all that you do for us, the blessings that you send our way. We ask you, Lord, to be in this meeting tonight and just impart to us wisdom and understanding. Lord, I pray that we will be able to discuss all the things that are on the agenda for the business of the city. And we'll continue to give you the praise for it all. We ask, Lord, that you might remember those who are ill, those who are sick and fighting just everyday sicknesses, I suppose. But Lord, there are some, Lord, in our city that have either lost loved ones, or there's some that are fighting that battle as well. And we just pray, Father, that you might remember them in your compassion and in your love, that you might visit with them and the families that are involved. We pray, Father, that you will guide and direct all of us, that we might remember those, Lord, who's in this kind of struggle. So, Lord, we give you the praise and thanks again, and we thank you for the opportunity. We ask these things in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
We have the roll call with Dakota.
Here.
And Chris.
Here.
And Teresa.
Here.
Melissa.
Here.
And Ted.
Here.
And we have established a quorum. That takes us through item number 4 on the agenda. Number 5 is public comments. Remind everybody that if you have something, you need to fill out one of these little forms. We have 3 people that would like to speak. You'll have 3 minutes with which to speak and address whatever situation that you have. I will remind you that those things need to be directed at the agenda. If it's on the agenda, you can speak with it at that time, or you can wait for that agenda item to come up. So with that in mind, Miss Patty, are you wanting to speak?
Yes, but I was wondering if I could go last. You might want me to wait.
Okay. Leon Watson? No, I don't. Okay. David Roselle?
I don't guess I need this microphone. I'm not sure if it works or not, but there's several things I had here after the crime board meeting. One thing I want to make sure that I didn't do was interrupt the meeting, because I didn't want to get drug out by the treasurer sitting over here. It looked pretty tough with those sneakers on. Several things, one of which I wanted to ask about the progress of the community center. I didn't see anything on the agenda about the community center, and I've had several people call and say, hey, look, we generally have family reunions in the summertime. I said, who do we talk about having a family reunion? I said, somebody other than the city of Bogota, because you're not going to have it down here. It's a shame we got all that stuff stuck around over there. I've also heard people say, well, we've got asbestos, we've got lead-based paint. We gutted this whole thing, and there's not any lead-based paint in here. Guarantee all these walls are new paint, and we didn't put lead-based paint on there in 2010. Just something to think about. I think I went in the kitchen before it was condemned, and I don't think there's a soft place in the floor. It's just got a big old U shape in that sucker. Pretty solid. It's just a hole there where it's evidently sunken, and I don't see a big problem with that. Ben Ed and I could fix that in a week, but I think that should have been fixed a long time ago. Along with the bathrooms, it needs some new paneling on the wall over there. Evidently, that wall gets hot on that outside over there, and the little strips of that paneling have come off. Not hard to fix. Melissa, did you fix the toilet that had the hole in the bottom in the girls' bathroom?
I changed the toilet in the men's.
In the men's. Well, if you go in the women's bathroom, I was in there looking one day, and one of the toilets, there's a speck on the bottom of it, and I flushed the toilet, and there's water squirting up out of this hole about that. I've never seen a hole in the bottom of a toilet before.
Oh, yeah.
But evidently, it's in there. Kind of unusual. I sure would like to see something done about the state of the community center. Police department. What an embarrassment. I go by there, we still got cars sitting all over the place. Are we paying insurance on those cars, or are they sitting there without insurance? I don't know. I was just thinking how much shorter one of these council meetings would be if we didn't have all that mess sitting over there. When are we going to say, my goodness, this is an embarrassment? We've been effectively without a police force since last March, April, May, June, somewhere along in there, when our chief decided to check it in and going to ride out the last few months, but at least for the last 9 months, we've not had a police force. As far as I know, we haven't had any rapes, any pillages, any burning of any houses, or any major traffic accidents.
30 seconds.
36 what?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, gotcha. I think it's ridiculous to put geo-trackers on any of the city vehicles. What are we going to do? Catch David driving to Paris in one of the city trucks? $1,500 for water taps, also stupid as hell. People can't afford it now. It's $500 after it went up from $250. But anyway, I want to say that I'm against that. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, y'all, I'm gonna talk faster than I normally do because I've got this written out and I know I'm on the clock. I've had people asking me all the time now who I think would be best for the seats that are up for election because I attend nearly all the meetings. And we're a little more than a month away out from the election. I want to say we can thank Tex, Chris, and Dakota for bringing the financial difficulties to light. Also want to say that Melissa and Teresa have not had a bond claim go against them, and I believe they're both good people who went on the information given to them. And voters can settle the council out in May in the election. I also want to say, as far as Tex Lofton, I think he's gotten a really, really bad, end of the stick because he lost 2 children and a wife in that time frame. And
Ms. Patty, excuse me, what line item, what agenda item are you speaking to?
I'm actually going down to the next one, Mayor. I promised you.
You went where?
Am I losing my minutes while you're
No,
talking?
we're okay.
Well, no, I want to make sure I'm
I'll
not losing.
I'll give you a few,
Okay.
extra, but we need to do agenda items.
Okay, well, this is it's actually new business that you might want to know because I've had enough. I took 3 weeks off to get away from this mess up here. I did my best to ignore the harassment from you and your family during the crisis.
You are out of order, ma'am.
I'm
You're out of
calling
order.
Red River County and I'm following.
You are
Okay.
out of order. You need to speak to an agenda item. This is not about personal things. So please restrain your comments to the agenda item.
It is very important to the city of Bogota if I file an oppression charge against the mayor with the Red River County Sheriff's
Patty,
Department today.
You are out of order.
I'm doing it today.
You are out of order, Miss Patty.
Okay, I'll sit down.
Thank you.
You need to resign. And these people need to shift around and we need to have an election in May because
Patty,
this
thank you.
mess
Appreciate
is
it.
your fault.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else want to speak during this time? All right. Thank you very much. Item number 6 on the agenda. Water line extension on Highway 37. Evan's coming to speak, and you might want to turn your mic on. On this line item, or this agenda item, we probably need to table this, would be my suggestion. There's information that we have not gotten back yet. There's going to be some considerable cost involved with the extensions, and there's some legal items that we have to get worked up. So we don't have all that information at our disposal. So, Evan, I just thought I'd throw that in there, and you can follow up on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I was going to try to table that as well. It may not be necessary, this extension. When it becomes necessary, I think we can bring it to the council and say this is a way to move forward. But right now, nothing's set in stone. It's kind of a fluid situation. So I'd just like to table that item. If we need to bring it up next month, we can bring it up next month. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions about it. I'll try to answer what I can. But I mean, for right now, we just table it, try to find a resolution before we have to make a water line extension. So.
I make a motion that we table item 6, water line extension. I second.
Motion and second to table item 6. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Motion carries to table. Item number 7, water service agreement. Mr. Evans.
So I drafted a new water service agreement a few months ago. Talked to Mr. Hamilton. We got the verbiage straightened out. I took out the piggybacking due to some vague verbiage about travel trailers and utilizing them as residents, whether permanent or temporary. So I took that out. I included a Texas administrative code about a 1 meter rule. Essentially, every resident has to have its own meter. That's to include commercial businesses and industrial businesses as well. So, I just would like the approval of the new service agreement so we can, protect ourselves better and the customers better. Lots laid out in the service agreement that wasn't in the service agreement that we're using right now, so it just kind of defines roles and responsibilities a little bit better than what we have, so. Do you have those service agreements? Are there any issues? You guys were able to look over those?
Brandon, you been Brandon? You said you were Brandon.
Were there any that in the packets that were,
You said you were gonna bring them.
I put a couple in the packets that we
Oh,
had
did you?
before.
Well, then they're in there, we put them in there.
I put them in yours and Mr. Hamilton's, and I think the code as well.
There we go. I've got a copy, somebody needs to see it.
Yep.
Scan quickly so I can pass it back.
A lot of the information remains the same. It is carryover. There are more things about wastewater in there and protecting valves and stuff like that from exposure to wastewater lines. All this falls in the Texas Water Code. And again, the piggybacking was a little vague. That was the issue we had last time when we tabled it. We were never able to get it. I sent it to Mr. Hamilton. We reviewed it. We looked over. I took that out entirely, and then I just implemented the 1 meter rule, which is a Texas administrative code, 24.169. It just says that every residence has to have its own meter. If you want to put in a shop or another building, a commercial, then you have to get approval from the city to either piggyback on that meter, utilize whatever water lines you have, or put in a new one.
Is that all we looked at?
All right, any questions?
So we just need a motion to accept the service agreement as written or laid out.
I'll make a motion we approve the service agreement.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the modified service agreement. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone do not agree with it, say no. Motion carries. Financial review, you have reports in your packet.
Is that from me, sir?
No, you're good.
You're good to go. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all ready to move on? You gotta put another thing on the door.
I was just fixing to say, we need to.
Okay, item number 8. Do y'all have any questions or anything about that yet?
Mr. Mayor, do we need a motion to accept these, is that what this is?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, we accept the financials.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve financial reports, and second, any other discussion? All in opposed, say no. And motion carried. We have some other information that's normally on consent agendas. Fire department report.
Well, one is for June.
Oh, I see, okay, yes. Seemed like there was another one in there, but I may be missing it. Alright. Any questions on the consent agenda? There's only that one besides the financial stuff, but that we'll do that separate anyway. We need a motion on that consent agenda item, or the item itself.
This is just the fire department report, so.
That's the only one we seem to have.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the fire department reports for, January, February.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. And motion carried. Approval of minutes of previous meetings. I'm sorry, number 9.
Yeah.
I put my check on the wrong number.
I understand.
Application for a mobile home permit.
I'm gonna just say this is a brand new mobile home. I looked through this, everything looks good on it, I'm gonna make a motion that we.
This is actually not a mobile home, it is a manufactured.
Manufactured.
Remanufactured, so it's a little bit different, it won't be on wheels or anything.
Okay. I'll still make a motion, we approve it. The pictures look amazing, and I'm kind of jealous. I'm having to do some work at my house, and I'm looking through these and thinking, man, I'm dreaming a little bit. So I still make a motion, we approve this.
I second.
Motion and second for approval of this application. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Number 11, Crime Control Board installed.
Number 10.
See, I just keep ahead of myself. I just don't make my checks. Approval of the minutes of the previous meetings.
Okay.
You have those in your packet as well.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the minutes for February meetings on February the 2nd, 16th, 18th, 26th, and 27th of 2026. There's a total of 5 sets of meeting minutes here.
All right, we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second to accept those minutes as presented. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. And I won't put my check mark down. I'll just tell you. All right, item number 11. Crime Control Board install geotab in all city vehicles. Number 11, yeah.
Since the crime control board and the city council's the same, Teresa had my paper in her bill I was looking for, they're $21 a piece per vehicle, so you were wanting the exact cost on those and a one-time $50 shipping fee, kind of backed up crime control, but I knew I had it here, just couldn't find it.
Well, I had it in mind too, just didn't look at it.
I actually found mine afterwards, so.
So what we talked about in the crime board, do you want to talk about it? Mr. President?
So currently, we're just gonna put it on the 2 water vehicles, so David and Dakota's, and we're gonna install on the equipment as well. We're not gonna do anything with the PD currently until we get that situation handled. So as of right now, it's just going on 2 vehicles and 1 piece of equipment.
only, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Right,
And my question is, the crime board's paying for it, but they're city vehicles. I think we probably ought to make a motion
To
that we,
approve allowed to have.
to allow it to happen. The crime board doesn't control that equipment.
I'll make a motion that we allow the crime board to have geo-trackers put on the 2 public works trucks and the piece of equipment that was discussed in the crime board meeting.
All right, motion, do we have a second? We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the installing of the geotabs on city vehicles and equipment. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Okay, I have it. Item number 12, city social media policy. You have a demonstration of one taken from, looks like Cumbie.
A very wise individual once told me that when it comes to a lot of our small towns, the policies, procedures, things like that, imitation is the best form of flattery. We have discussed several times having a social media policy here, and I think it is more important now than ever. With what's been going on with the the police department, every time that we hire someone new, a new page is started. This is just one that, I found, put on here, we do not have to adopt this. We can go through and change it to fit what we need. It's probably not going to this 6 pages here, and I don't think we've got enough time to sit down and write this tonight, but we need to sit down and come up with a policy of how this city is going to handle that, and as far as who is going to have the passwords for all the Facebook pages for the separate departments and the websites, and who's going to do that, who's access to it. That's decisions we've all got to make.
Do you think every department should be able to set up their own Facebook page? Should there be like a city attorney for Bogata Facebook page and a city secretary Facebook page and public works? Because I don't know that you need all that data flowing around. You got one page, then everybody runs their stuff through it. And there's an administrator that puts that stuff out there. Otherwise, everybody, y'all can have your own Bogata City Council Facebook page. And it's a lot of stuff being said. You never solve any problems on social media. You can create a bunch. You never solve them. So you need to think about that. Because the police department here cranks one up every time there's a new chief. And you read, you go, well, amen to that. So, maybe you can tell what my opinion of that is about what I just said. You need to think about if every department head can have one, and then if that's so, how are you going to manage the data that individual puts on there?
I would just like to say I agree with Mr. Hamilton. The issue with Facebook and social media things has been an issue as long as I've been here anyway, and I'm sure probably before. On several occasions, I've encouraged you guys to avoid using that form of communication. I agree that it does cause a lot of trouble. So I would say we need to do some type of singular page or singular thing. But I think more than that, there just needs to be rules about what we're going to follow as city leaders when it comes to putting stuff on Facebook.
Amen.
So, it just, whenever we sit down and do that, now this is far as I know, this is the second time we tried to do a social media policy. We just never have followed through with it. But we do need to follow through with it, and we'll have to have a few meetings in order to get this thing underway. So that's my 2 cents worth on that right there. I thank Mr. Hamilton for his guidance and consideration. Just up to us to step up and get it done. And as if I understood text, this is just like a information piece, right?
I don't think we want to take the time tonight to sit down and have to do 6 pages of this
Yeah.
and write it, so this was more information.
All right. Anyone else have any comment? All right. Item 13.
Hi, y'all. In the interest of saving time, I would like to discuss 13, 14, 18, and 26 all at the same time, if that's okay, and I think I can get it done in 3 to 5 minutes. Items 13 and 14 have the wrong date and don't clearly represent what's going on, so those two can just be gotten rid of however you guys do that. Moving on to 18, we are Bogata Area United, a group of citizens who have begun plans for fundraisers and community events. All proceeds will be earmarked for projects that will better our community, beginning with bathrooms in our city park, helping to fund the repairs to our community center, and donations to our volunteer fire department. Our first event is scheduled for April 11th, 2026, and includes a car show and a barbecue cook-off. The car show is scheduled to be downtown, so we are asking the city to file the permit with TxDOT to close down Main Street from 909 to 2nd Street from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m., April 11th, 2026. The barbecue cook-off, which we have named the Smoke Show, will be at the Bogata Rodeo Arena. It will also be on April 11th, 2026. We will begin serving the public at 5 p.m. We have no request from the city for that portion of our event. It would be great if you guys wanted to come out and volunteer your time and help us, but there is no official request of the city council on that. We currently have sponsors who have made all of this possible, and we're currently in talks with the local radio station for advertising and for them to come out and broadcast from the event. We hope to make this an annual event and look forward to doing many more things. I brought a copy of each flyer. You guys can take one down and pass it around. And that covers agenda item 18. Item 26 on the agenda, Bogata Area United would like to bring back Frontier Days, which is the Saturday morning of the Bogata Rodeo that falls June 27th, 2026 of this year. We would like the council to consider voting to approve us having Frontier Days at the city park this year. We currently have the pancake breakfast lined up and are talking with some of the area churches to help with events and contests. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one question on the cook-off. Is that, I missed the time, is that going to be from 7 to 2 also on that same day?
Well, we'll start serving the public at 5 p.m.
Judging before that, won't you?
Yes, judging will be before that. The intent is, once everything shuts down on Main Street, everything will move to the rodeo grounds. There will be some bounce houses. We have a lot of events, a lot of things going on for it to be super family friendly.
What was the hours you need for Main Street shut down?
We would like to do from 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. We expect the car show to run from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., but we're trying to add in a little bit of cushion so that we can get everything cleaned up and leave things better than we found them.
We got a question.
Okay, this is April the 11th, right?
Yes,
Okay, because this is April 17th. 3 weeks early.
any other questions before I sit down again?
Okay, what was the date on the Frontier Day?
June 27th.
27th, I put 22nd. I knew that didn't sound right.
All right, thank you very much. All right, any other questions?
When we go to vote on this, me and Chris are a part of the committee, so we will not be taking this vote.
I make a motion that we approve the city file for the permit to close 271 on Main Street from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the car show. And make a motion that we approve the Bogota Area United to use the city park on the 27th of June for Frontier Days.
I will second that.
All right, motion to that effect and seconded. Other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And the motion carries. Item 15, clean out the spillway at the city park.
I went down there the other day, and where that concrete little spillway where the water runs through that creek at, one, it was stopped up, two, it's just filthy and nasty. We're gonna do Frontiers Day, we're gonna, bring back the, what was it, the duck race? And we're gonna need to have that cleaned out for that, but I think in general to just make the park look more uniform, we need to keep that cleaned out. And anyways,
I will tell you this, personal experience as a child, I played in that creek, and I know there are kids today that play in that creek. So having it cleaned out is not a very bad idea at all. It's a very good idea.
so,
Do we have some kind of plan, or we have to formulate a plan?
if we can, just get the city guys to clean it out once a month. I mean,
Does anybody know what they've done in the past about cleaning that? David, do you have any idea what they used to do?
Generally just fills in with sand, from what I've seen. In the past, we've had somebody come in there with a smooth mouth skid steer and scoop that sand out and haul it off. That's what I've seen done in the past, but it just silts in over the course of time.
City doesn't have a skid steer, does it?
No.
I think a member of the council has one.
well, I wasn't gonna do it without permission, but
Oh, well.
I have no problem getting down there and doing it myself either.
I do know down at one end of that, there was at one point a little concrete bridge that went over there that has now collapsed. Had fallen down in there, and it actually, the way that disc golf course is laid out up there, you tee off on one side and you gotta walk from the other end of the park to go back to the bridge, to cross over, to come back down there, so.
Get a little cardio in, huh?
You definitely get your exercise in that. I remember when they first put that in, I said, nobody ever used that, and they use it all the time, so.
So is that collapsed bridge something that needs to be?
I'm gonna be honest, in my personal opinion, it needs to be fished out of there, pulled out of there, something done. Kids go down there and cross that all the time, and somebody's gonna get hurt on it.
Is that something you could do when you were cleaning it out?
Where's it at?
Further down
Where the pavilion is, go back toward downtown, it's all the way up to the end of it where the concrete ends.
You're talking about that washout?
Yeah, that's down there where the washout is, it was actually a bridge that went over it, and you could walk over the thing, but it collapsed. I don't know when it collapsed, it's been a long time ago.
If y'all let me, I'll go do it.
second to allow Bogata to go down and clean out that spillway area, down to that creek, city park. Any discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Number 16, reopen camper spots at the city park, $40 per night.
Is the $40 a night, is that what we've charged in the past, or is that gonna be a new fee?
It may be a new one. There was a fee back during, when we did the eclipse thing. I have to look back and see what it was. I don't recall offhand the exact price. We allowed a couple of folks to stop in there during that time, and they paid the fee, and then they moved on. One guy stayed, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, I guess, but
My thing is, the reason I put it on there is not to get rich. I mean, there's what, 4 spots? But it is something we can, I mean, they're there, they work. Why not make a little bit of money and just put that in the park fund?
I heard that one of them may not have water to it, and maybe electrical problems on one of them.
I don't know, suppose they were all working, at least back during the eclipse event, but,
David, do you know, you're shaking your head back there, do you know anything?
I speak conservatively because I don't want the treasurer over here to come back and get it. There's some trees that were down there, and one of those trees uprooted and took out some of the water to the adjacent to the road. I know that's because the water was just going everywhere, and we went down there and ground that stump out, but we had to cut the water off at the street. The white came down there, and we were looking for it, and he went right there, and that's where it was. But, so the two out there probably not gonna have water, but it's something that's fixable. I'm not real sure about the power. I don't think there's any 50-amp service there. We built those back in the 90s when campers weren't so large. They're pretty short, but they're usable. That's all I know about the water.
Do you know if there's electricity out there too?
there's electricity out there. I couldn't tell you at this very moment that it's all working. If we've had down trees or something, and all that stuff has to be checked out. I don't know if all of them are up or not. We just have to check it and find out. I know that there's other issues, trees down in other places as well, especially around that creek. There's a half a dozen trees that need to be taken out because they're eventually going to fall and cause a problem. Here, about that same time, there was a tree went down. It actually fell on the other property. That had to be cleaned up. So there's a few other little issues out there that needs to be looked at as we prepare for something like this.
I suggest table this till next month, and I don't know how we need to do it, David, but and then we may have to put a whole new line item for next month, but to have somebody come out and inspect everything, check everything, see what the cost is going to be. If there's something down, get it repaired, and then we can look at officially opening. But that's the way I'd handle it.
I just want to remind everybody, I think there's about $1,000 in the park expense fund, so, there's not a lot of money to do some of these things, so keep that in mind, even for line, for agenda item 17, there's information, that's the information we have, that's the only funding that we have.
In fact, got anybody in mind who you go out there and look and kind of give us a process to know what to say? You might funnel those around and get to a curve, so next month we'll use, consistent with the.
Yeah, I can get somebody out there to look at it, give us a quote on fixing the electrical, check the plumbing out, and so, if anybody's good with that, I can get all that done and have a price back at the next meeting.
Sounds good to me. I make a motion that we allow, or have Dakota to have someone come and check on for those park, camper spots at the park. And report back to us next month.
I second.
All right, motion and second to have the facilities checked out there for the camping spots. And then report to the next month. We have a motion and a second, and any other discussion? All in favor of this item, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Add additional lighting at the city park.
Is there any way we can, call and start getting prices on that? I mean, not to say we gotta do it, but, we are doing fundraising, so. I mean, obviously we can't pay for everything. We got stuff here to pay for and stuff at the park to pay for, but, I mean, just so we kinda have an idea, because when it comes time to start paying for it, we're gonna request that the city, gets the bids. We're just gonna cut the check straight to them, so.
What additional lighting is needed? What are you talking about?
Well, on the back side around, I guess where the old bathrooms are at, I mean, get something brighter out there. I mean,
The
those,
entrance to the back is dark.
Yeah, it
The
is.
park's dark at night.
and I know we go to start paying to get new bathrooms out there. I want to be able to have lighting in case some punk kid comes out there tearing
Are you
stuff
gonna
up.
put the new bathrooms up toward the road?
We don't know yet. It all depends on how much money's raised, because bathrooms are about $45,000.
We have a question.
Can I ask something real quick? So, the crime control board can pay for stuff that's security or crime prevention related. Security lights are crime prevention related. They could put lots of them in the park, but it's got $50,000 extra.
Yeah. I mean, if the money's not gonna go to the fire department, it needs to go for the things that y'all are talking about.
By that same thought, and it's something to follow, if you get estimates, you can present them to both boards. And we'll see what we can do.
But is it something we can run it through the crime board?
For safety reasons, it's
Okay.
absolutely right. I had
For
that.
the lighting, for sure.
Right.
We're talking about the camping spots back there, there's no lighting back there at all. I mean, it's dark back there.
And people who camp are gonna want light.
And they're gonna want lights there, so yeah, that's something that we definitely can look into there.
All right, so we need a motion then, I guess, for somebody to seek those bids for that project.
I'll do that too.
I was fixing to ask if you're gonna have someone come and look at the electrical for the pads, would it be the same people that would think that they would possibly put lights in?
I can ask them, yeah.
And if they don't, I don't know who would.
Well, I mean, we have contractors, that are around, but, like Hale Electric, and I don't know who all the different ones around local are, but I know we use Hale for a lot of different things,
Can I ask a question? As far as the local contractors, I know y'all are talking about policies. I know it's come up at a couple of meetings because I know that Mary Torres was wanting to put in some bids. Does the city have an established policy for taking bids for work? Because it seems like they just kind of go wherever, just wherever. So I didn't know if y'all take so many bids or if that's something y'all might want to consider.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, if a project is more than $50,000, there has to be 3 bids submitted. And then below that, 2 is always the best. Sometimes they're not local around as many, but,
Why?
so.
Yeah, I just
think,
wondered.
David, is that right? $50,000?
$50,000 or above, you have to have 3.
Yeah.
And under that, it's kind of up to the city, but
Yeah.
it's always a good idea to get a couple, unless it's somebody you really trust, and it cannot be your brother-in-law. I'm just kidding. It could be your brother-in-law, but the smaller the jurisdiction, the more difficult sometimes it is to get those,
I I was just wondering, because I know most cities will put like on their door at City Hall or something like accepting bids until such date, and then they cut it off.
Well, we do put it in the paper. We put something like that in the paper when we start that project, and then we wait and see how many.
I was just wondering how that worked.
You don't always get, you know,
Yeah.
the bids you want. Sometimes people just don't want to deal in a small town.
Well, I've had a couple come to me later and say, why weren't we allowed to put in a bid? And I'm like, well, they've got to be up here, so that's why I was asking.
Yeah, we're required to advertise the bid. Yes, sir?
Would some of that lighting be feasible to use solar? They got some bright solar lights now that hope that work for hours.
I think that's a possibility. Again, you got meetings going on, but anyway, again, it's whatever the cost and stuff are, you know, that we run into, because there's going to be costs for the solar panel as well as the lighting.
Well, some of the lights now have got the
You got it with
panels
it.
on.
You got it with it, yeah. I mean, it's certainly something you ought to look at, you know.
And, city workers can put the poles in the ground. And you rent a little equipment to lift it, install them yourself.
Dakota, are you agreeable to get a bid on the lighting at the park? I make a motion that we table item 17, and Dakota, Jimmy's working on the camper spots to see about getting a bid for lighting, and to have that item placed on the crime board agenda for next month's meeting.
Motion and second to that effect. Any other discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right. Number 19, we've already, yeah, well, we've already done that. Okay, number 19, policy on electronic bank transfers.
Your need one. We finally, everybody got comfortable with me looking around at the financials. I found out the city had 22 bank accounts. And you start looking back and forth, and money it's just like a monopoly game. It's just going back and forth. And I don't know if the council knows about it. I picked up one of my favorite months here, which is May of 2024. During that month, there were electronic, let me just count them up here. There was on the 7th, there was an electronic transfer for $35,000 and some change into the general account. On the 13th, there was $10,000 almost transferred from 3003, whatever that is. $14,900 on the 14th from 5620. $18,933 from 3140. $48,738.92 from the CD. $51,108.25 from account 3140. I don't know how anybody can keep track of this. I'm just gonna assume that from my experience with the city council and the city, that those transfers are not being recorded. I know they weren't at one desk. Money's just being transferred around. This may be one of the reasons the city is in the condition it's in right now. And I really think you need to say, we need some, I don't know what it needs to be. I'd be willing to research it. But anytime somebody electronically transfers money, there should be about 2 people in this room that does that. And that's all. One would be the city secretary, the other might be the mayor. But whoever's on these accounts, if they're electronically transferring money, they need to document it somehow. I would say this for the audit, but I think you're going to have a real difficult time getting an audit by budget time. There's too much risk that goes on. You just can't do it. And you look at the stuff, and sometimes there's a name there, and sometimes there isn't. Sometimes there's a reason for doing it, sometimes there's not. So at least I think the city's entitled to know if someone is transferring money electronically, who it is, what account it's coming from, and what account it's going to. And I think it's part of your obligation why I'm finding one, to figure out how it suits us. So that we don't, this problem can be fixed pretty quick. You sure can. That's all I was.
You would be willing to look that up?
Well, I will.
Don't fall off that chair, but
Since I've been here, only if there's been any transfers made, an email goes out to every council member.
I think I get it too.
You get it too. And what account it goes to from and who, what it's for, why, what for, and how much. And then it is put, there's, the receipts are printed off, put in a file, and it's put into QuickBooks. So,
Well, and you admitted that policy all by yourself.
yes.
The problem is, the city hasn't adopted that, and that's our issue. We seem to change what direction we're headed, depending on which personality is sitting in what seat. And that needs to change. You've got somebody good steering the boat right now, that's fine. But we need to make sure that steerage continues if somebody quits or goes someplace else. So that's a good policy to have, and I'll talk to you about it.
and some of you may not know it by text probably does, Melissa maybe, but at one time we had like 32 different accounts.
There were 37.
37?
37 when I come on the council.
I could never find, I don't know, I could never find anybody to explain it.
No, we don't, and it's, but it has been a 7-year process trying to get these down for me. It's nearly 6 years for Larry that we've been systematically trying to eliminate accounts, and they're down a lot. Anyway,
Y'all need to speak up because they can't hear out there.
So,
I make a motion that we ask our attorney to research and get us a policy on electronic bank transfers. And bring it back and present it to the council when he gets it.
I second.
motion and a second to have the attorney to develop that bank transfer policy and be presented to us as soon as we can get one ready. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed say no. Motion carried. Policy on call special council meetings.
Anybody know what the law is? Just asking. It's a trick question. Special meetings can be called 2 ways. The mayor can call one just because he's the mayor. And the other way is 3 council persons can decide they want one. Our problem has been, how are we going to manage that? And because some people say, well, if 3 council people get together, that's a quorum. So I don't want to do that. So how can we do it? One thing to appreciate is a quorum for a special meeting is 4. So if 3 of you get together and say, we need to have a special meeting on this, you haven't violated that law, so I want you to just say, we need to have a special meeting. You with me on that so far? Sure you can do that. Next thing is, what conduit are you going to use? Are you going to send it to the mayor and say, Mayor, there's 3 of us here, we want a special meeting? That seems like that would be the simplest, because that's actually what the statute says is 3 council persons can call it, and the mayor has to do it. If the mayor doesn't do it, then you can say, well, we asked, we didn't get set, we'll do it another way. But that seems to be the way to do it, is to say, 3 of us got together, we want a special meeting, and funnel it through whoever's in the mayor's office. Does that seem reasonable? I've had cities do it all different ways, and they're all cumbersome to me. If 3 of you decide we need to call a meeting for some reason, you can talk about that issue and ask the mayor to do it, and then you gotta isolate the agenda item, whatever's going on.
And all those are really just the statutory requirements.
That's it. That's it. Nothing more or less. But everybody kind of gets upset because they don't want to be accused of assembling in a quorum to get a meeting set, but you're not. So let's go with that and see if that works, okay?
do we need to take an action on item 20? Or is this for
I mean,
information?
the statutory regs are already there. I mean, we just need to follow them.
Just follow that statute.
But it's more for information.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Number 21, dissolution of the Bogota Economic Development Corporation.
We don't want to talk about this in here, or we need to do this privately, it doesn't matter to me, there's a lot of lawyering going on here.
There's a lot of what?
Lawyering. Executive session or open session, I don't care, you can do it either way.
Let's get it over with.
We don't. I think I got under these 2, 3, 4, there's 5 of them. Let's take one, pass that around, somebody may have to share. There has been, I've only discovered it in the last 3 or 4 months, an economic development corporation that has the name Bogata in front of it. And that was, a certificate of formation was filed with the Secretary of State on November the 16th, 2020. And I have asked and I have looked.
Yes, Council. Can you use the mic? They can't hear you back behind you.
Turn it on right in front of you.
On the box.
How about now? Is that any better?
It's better.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Gotta be
I
able to-
thought it was all, okay, here we go. So there is a Bogata Economic Development Corporation, that's the name of the place. And it was, the certificate of formation was filed with the Secretary of State on November the 16th, 2020. What you have in front of you right now, there'll be 2 resolutions I'll be asking you to consider. One is to terminate the Economic Development Corporation, and the other one is called Resolution for the City Council of Bogata declaring the acts of the Bogata Economic Development Corporation ultra virus. And what that is, that's one of the Latin phrases I remember very briefly, and that remembers it was without legal sanction. So I've asked and I have looked. I cannot find a document any place in the city records that says this city council authorized the establishment of the Bogata Economic Development Corporation. Maybe one, I don't have it. There was and if you read down through there with me on the termination resolution, there was a meeting held on December the 14th, 2020, where the BEDC adopted bylaws, provided for a corporate record book, which is supposedly present at that meeting, that I've never seen and I don't think exists, and selected as the directors and officers on that meeting were Larry Hinesley, Cecil Lofton, and Kim Lindsay. Those 3 people have never been approved by the city council as the governing body of that corporation, which is required by the government code. The government code also requires that the Economic Development Corporation abide by the Texas Open Meetings Act. And as I know, the Economic Development Corporation's had 2 meetings. The organizational meeting was one, and there was another one on May 11th, 2023, and there's no posted agendas for either one of those. Which would be a violation of the Open Meetings Act. I've examined the bank account records of the Bogata Economic Development Corporation, which is 3140 is the account number. And for the entire year of 2021, that bank account had 1 cent in it, and no more. The name on that account was not changed to BEDC until May the 1st, 2022, and I don't know why it was done. I can't isolate what the motive was for that. May the 23rd, 2022, $131,000 was transferred from the city general fund into account 3140. And I don't find any corresponding authority. There was a vote one time, months before this, to transfer money, but it was months before, absolutely months before. Again, another $131,000 was transferred into account 3140 on September the 29th, 2022, and I cannot find any authority anywhere for that transfer. None was put in there. What is represented in the documents I have seen is that that entire amount of money, which is $262,000, was entirely from the American Recovery Act funds. That's what's represented. Now, anytime you open up an economic development corporation under Chapter 501 of the Texas Business Code, then it doesn't make any difference where the money comes from. It still has to be managed by that code. You still have to do things, and those things haven't been done. The code requires that the BEDC get executed performance agreements, like contracts with whoever's going to build stuff and do things. There's only been one of those, and that was on November the 9th of 2020. And if you remember, I said they didn't get their certificate approved by the Secretary of State until November the 16th. So this agreement is signed November the 9th, 2020, about a week before it became a corporation. That agreement is signed by the mayor, as both the mayor and the president of the BEDC. As a result of that, if you remember, there was no money that BED received or paid out as a result of that performance agreement. It's just there. According to the Texas Government Code, a municipality may not place a grant of public money in the Section 501 corporation, American Recovery Act funds, or by definition, public monies. So it probably should have never been put in the Economic Development Corporation. Most economic development corporations are funded by, who knows? The magic answer is sales tax. People who have them usually don't have a crime prevention board like we do. Sales tax go in there, and they can do other things to raise money, but that's the basic funding source. I cannot find a corporate record book. And those corporate record books are required not only by the statute, but by the bylaws. There's no financial records that I can determine as required by Section 22, 345 of the Texas Business Code. And the same Texas Business Code indicates that failure to maintain these financial records is a crime. It's a jailable offense. There are no annual financial reports as required by Section 22, 352 of the Texas Business Code. None. I cannot see where the Bogata Economic Development Corporation obtained any city council approval under Section 501.073 of the local government code for any programs or expenditures 2023, 2024, or 2025. As I said earlier, the total amount of funds transferred in was $262,000. And the last time I looked, 3140 had about $4,000 left in it. It appears that the management of that account was entirely and exclusively done by Larry Hensley as the president of the BEDC, perhaps as the mayor of the city. The mayor had access to that account as well as the accounts it was transferred into. This is one that references back to that. One of my favorite months in the city's history is May of 2024. Y'all recall on the 16th there was this emergency meeting of the city council. Well, if you go back and look, and I said it a while ago a little bit, May the 14th, 15th, and 16th, there's a significant amount of money transferred into that operating account. $18,933.25 of that came from the Bogata Economic Development Corporation. On May the 16th, the council voted to spend $78,000 or so on police cars, but the authorization was restricted to certificates of deposit that supposedly were matured. the 16th, $48,000, $738.82 was transferred from the CD into 2880. Here's the problem. The check was written on May the 17th, 2024 for $78,590 to Chicago Motors to purchase those police cars that the city had authorized on May the 16th of 2024. If you subtract $48,000, which was the only CD transferred in, from $76,000, you have a deficit. Some other money was being used to buy police cars. And the city council said you can only use that CD money to do that. So did it come from the Economic Development Corporation? I don't know. There was other monies being transferred in at the same time. The bylaws that I have seen have been violated in numerous respects. Those are all highlighted in one of the, well, I think it's about page 4 there. The actions were not managed by the board of directors. There were no waivers for any of the actions that the corporation took. There was never an annual meeting by the corporation, which is required. You got to have at least 3 directors. The last couple of years, it functioned with only 2. It didn't function, but they only had 2. There must be a directors elected at the annual meeting. Vacancies on the board of directors must be filled by the board of directors and approved by the city council. That didn't happen. Officers that are selected or empowered must act only with the authority of the bylaws, and that wasn't done. Whatever the authority, however these funds were spent, there was no actual authority that I could find for doing that. There was no treasurer appointed, so you don't have anybody looking over the money. No accurate financial records were kept, including income and expenses, and these are all not statutory. These are all the bylaws that were adopted by that corporation. So there was violation of statutory law, there's a violation of bylaws. This next one, and if you're on page 5, look at Article 8, Section 1 of the bylaws. Those bylaws say the purpose of the Bogata Economic Development Corporation is to function as a charitable corporation with activities to assist in animal rescue and operate as a 501c3. Those are the adopted bylaws of this corporation. Which can only mean somebody didn't read them before they voted. Because you can't have a charitable corporation under a 501 statutory, and it's not a 501c3 because there's no federal tax exemption policy. So it looks like somebody just copied and pasted. And then finally, it says, hey, if we ever dissolve, then whatever we've got left goes to a charitable organization. It's against the law. You can't put this money into a charitable organization. So the bylaws were very effective as well. So, what I'm asking to have happen here, does anybody got any questions? Anybody got any answers? So, if you read through this, what I would like to have is this, and there's some, at the back, you've got a little bit of the law and some of the other things that support what I indicated here. One of the other things, and I checked with the lawyers at TML on this, I said, should the Economic Development Corporation's money be a part of the city budget every year? And their answer was like mine. They said, no, should not be. So for 2 or 3 years, money from the Economic Development Corporation has been a part of the city of Bogata budget. Should not be. Should not be. It functions much like the crime district in that you're supposed to have your budget ready, kind of, sort of, before the city approves its budget, so the city council knows where your funds are gonna go, helps them do their budget. Plus, an economic development board is self-funded. You can't put your money over there unless you have what they call a 380 contract. There's not any of those anywhere in any of this. So this resolution is on that back page. If you'll see, what I'd ask is that when you get ready, if you make a motion on this to do something, everybody kind of write their name and write yes or no there about what your vote is on that one. And that closing this down is necessary in order to close it down. We have to have an affidavit or a resolution of termination in order for the Secretary of State to say, we're not going to do that anymore. So that's part of the deal. There are also some instructions here at the end on how to close it up finally. Final franchise tax report, a Form 53059 on the website, or filed in personally as 52 certificate of termination, final IRS Form 990, and all that should be reported back to the city council within 30 days. So there's one. The other one I only have one copy of, and it's the Ultra Vires Act of the corporation. It goes through and it says, basically in a more condensed form, all the things are in this termination resolution, and it asks for a declaration that the conduct, the acts of the Bogata Economic Development Corporation were ultra vires. That means they were not authorized by the city council, and they had to be. That every one of these transactions had to be approved by the city council. So, and again, there's instructions on the back of it about how to vote for, against, or abstain there. Any questions? You want to sit down?
I do have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
The money that's left in that account, or whatever, that's gonna go into the city budget, correct?
It has to.
Okay, that's, I just wanted to make sure that we understood that.
There's not any choice. That's where that money goes. About, I think it's $4,000 or something, but no, that's where that money has to. And that's by statute. That's not because that's how anybody wants it. That's just what it does.
By terminating this, does this keep the city from being able to apply for any grants for improvement for roads or anything like that?
I cannot tell you that because I don't know. I don't know. It's an economic development corporation. It's part of the city. You wouldn't have this if you didn't have a city. Okay, but now this has crashed and burned on the reef, so that's gone away. I don't know if it'll have any impact on future grants or anything like that. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Can't tell you.
When you applied for grants, did you go through the
grants, there was not any grants as far as the EDC was concerned. Yeah.
so everything was just for the city then that you got? Okay. So we need to sign, is there one that you have that we need to sign, yes or no?
Yeah, I'll just circulate this one around and you can have that. There needs to be some sort of motion on each of them, each one of them, for or against it, and then everybody needs to vote it, sign it, and pass it around. Let me get to this page. I'll just circulate the signature page around. This one right here, the one page is for the termination, and this 2-page one here is the ultra vires. So there's the circuit, there's the one going around for the termination.
Okay, then I make a motion that we terminate the Bogata Economic Development Corporation by signing this form here to say we're going to do that.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to terminate the Bogata Economic Development Corporation.
You want to let everybody sign, and then you can, Mr. Mayor, you could read the results after everybody's voted.
Thank you.
Please.
This one I need to go ahead and sign
The sign is mayor, or you can say, I don't want to sign it, it's up to you. But you don't get a vote anyway.
No.
So, yeah.
Whenever that becomes an official document, then
Yes, sir, that'll be attached to the actual resolution, and without all that research and everything to it.
It was 4,900, it's 3,131 is what it was.
oh, I'm sorry, read the results. What was the date? 17?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. The vote went as follows. Cecil Tex Lofgren, yes. Melissa Kirby, yes. Dakota Ross, yes. Teresa Allison, yes. Chris Kennedy, yes. Motion carries.
Here's the other one, the second one, kind of the same thing, sign it on the back.
Start with this, this is a resolution declaring ultra virus act in the Bogota Economic Development Corporation. For this vote for is to this
Yeah, that's just to agree with the resolution.
Guess I need to sign that one. Yeah. All right. So the vote is as follows. Melissa Kirby, 4. Teresa Allison, 4. Dakota Ross, 4. Chris Kennedy, 4. Cecil Lofgren, 4. Motion carries.
Did you sign that?
It doesn't have to.
All right. Any other business on that?
No, sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item 22, raise water tap from 500 to 1,500. Let me go on record saying I think this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I don't get vote on most things, but just so you know where I stand, I will not support this unless I'm compelled to by the council. Our costs, I'm checking with David. I'm sorry?
I'm the one that put it on there, and the reason is because I was talking to Deport's mayor, and he told me that over there, they're charging $2,000 for a water tower. talked to David, and, I mean, he's saying we're doing it for almost cost. That's what I was.
We're not making much off of it, at all, but, jumping up to $1,500 is ridiculous. I mean, I could see it going up, because of the cost of things and everything's happening over the last year especially. I can see it going up a little bit, but that big of a jump is just too much. I mean, most everybody around here has, their own Social Security or something like that, and it's just a lot of money. And you're not going to realize a bunch of money out of taps anyway. It's not like we have, a lot of people coming in for the year. I think 5 or 6 a year. It's stretching it quite a bit. Depends on the market and how things are coming in. But I think it would be a mistake, to make this kind of a jump. So that's my 2 cents. But
Do we have any idea what it costs the city to put in a water tap? I'm talking about materials, labor. What does it cost the city to put in it?
well, it's just under 500. I mean, it's when I talked to David yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before, Friday maybe. Anyway, he said we're just not making very much off of it. And that's why we went up forward. I mean, because it was costing us rather than any money coming in. So, those costs have risen without a doubt. So, I mean, what do we want to do? And I'm not concerned about what other towns are doing. I just think it's a mistake.
Does the council know how much it costs to have water established in the city of Bogota? Does everybody know how much it costs?
Oh, back when I was
You pay
digging well.
$250 to have your water turned on in the city of Bogota now.
150, yeah.
That's pretty steep.
$200 is a deposit, and $50 is an administrative fee. And then, of course, you get, if you leave, you get that money back. Or what usually happens is somebody says, well, pay my bill out of that and send me the rest, So,
That hasn't all been paid at one time, right?
yes.
But the water tap is putting a new
tap
meter in,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah. You just don't have that many. Somebody comes in and builds a property. A lot of times the property already has a meter and everything there. So we're not talking about, making tons of money off of this thing. And I would think that it would be a consideration for us to say, well, we want people to come to Bogota, not stay away because of, high prices like that. I just think it's a mistake, and I think we need to think about it very seriously.
Well, that's just like me going and pouring a concrete pad for somebody and doing it for whatever, $30. You ain't catching me doing that. I mean, I'm not saying let's get rich, but I mean, we need to make more than $20 or something off of it.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. I mean, it's not a lot. It's
I
got,
talked to David, and he said the price we're getting off of it is pretty much breaking even, not counting his time and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
But you gotta count, the city has to pay him,
Yeah,
so
that's not counting.
I would like for us to table this for now and find out what the wages are, how long does it take to put in a tap? We've gotta know the cost to pay for payroll for that and the materials, and then we can come up with what we can charge for a water tap. But until you know what it costs the city, how can you know what to charge? I don't wanna make a killing on it, but I don't want the city to go under on it either.
what's what I say? I can see it going up, some, but that's just too big a jump.
I make a motion that we table this until next month, and I'll get with David and get this information and bring it back.
I'll second.
Motion and second to table this item. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no.
No.
All right, let's go by the individual vote.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Texas?
Yes.
3 yeses, 2 noes, and the table passes. Item number 3, approval of wording of Chief Mark's contract. Of course, everybody knows that Chief has decided not to stay in this arrangement, so there's not a whole lot to say. He turned in his resignation, I get, what was it, 3 days after we swore him in. Have no explanation. There's no explanation that I've seen, unless some of you have talked to him and know, unless you can share that information with us. But right now, it's kind of a moot point here.
He told me that it was some of the wording in the contract, and then I got Mr. Hamilton on the phone. It was an easy fix, but he still chose to make his decision. So it was a simple fix on what the issue was. But
And he turned in the stuff, and the PD's locked up again right now. So not a whole lot we can do about it at this time. There's the one thing that I had hoped that, and it will be the same thing, but I think the council needs to take some consideration here about what we're going to do with those vehicles. I mean, they're just sitting there, and those vehicles need to be sold. And I think the council needs to take a handhold on this and get it done. Decide which vehicles we're going to keep, and I'm sure there's probably little things that we need to look at and consider. But they're not.
We decided on selling 3 of them.
I thought about 2 months ago,
Yeah.
they sell 3. So unless you want to change that, there's already authority to sell 3 of them. The problem's going to be now, who's going to do it? How you going to get it done? You going to auction them off? You going to advertise another law enforcement? How you going to do it? And who's going to do it? That's the problem. There's some authority to sell 3 of them already.
we don't need to be selling something that's paid off. Because there's no point in selling something that's paid off just to go back and buy it, whatever, 6 months from now. I mean, but obviously we're not getting a department of 4 people, so, I mean, keep a couple cars.
What have we found out about leased vehicles? Are we?
Nothing, because the last I heard was we're going to try to keep 1, and then that went to the south. So that changed some things the crime board did in its budget, and here we are right now. The direction I got from the crime board was to see if we can just send them on down.
Send them back.
Y'all want to pay for something we're not using.
Well, I think the council needs to take the lead on this. The titles and everything, I haven't looked at them, but I believe it's in the city's name. So we need to take control of this and decide what we're going to do, get the other vehicles, sold. I think there are some entities out there where those vehicles, that can happen. And look at what the price is going to need to be and get to it, because they're just sitting there. And we bought batteries, I don't know for all of them, but at least twice in the past several months, because they sit there and went dead.
Well, if we're gonna sell a vehicle that, we took money from the fire department, if we're gonna sell those vehicles, we need to, whatever we sell them for, the money needs to go back to them.
I'm not opposed to that, but we do have a plan in already, for paying back the fire department. But I'm not opposed to doing whatever we need to do.
And that'll just cut that term down faster. We won't owe them as long.
But we have to make a decision what we're going to do with the vehicles before we can do anything else.
So is that gonna leave us with just 2 vehicles?
I think there's.
Selling 3, and getting rid of the lease?
I think, isn't there a third vehicle? I said one of the
Chevy,
trucks.
half-ton, there's a blue Explorer, there's a black truck, there's a blue Tahoe, there's a Crown Vic, there's 3 lease cars, so we've got 8 cars over there right now.
We need at least 3, a chief, an officer, and a backup.
So, I mean, it's time to act on these guys.
Well,
But
keep
that's
that.
not on our agenda, I don't think we can.
We can't act on it today, but I mean, I'm just giving you this information because we can't just sit here on it. We cannot just sit here.
Just something, while you're talking about that, I know you can't act on it tonight. We formed a truck committee to purchase the new engine that we got the grant for, and we did order that truck last week. We also have a grass truck that's a 2003 model that we'll be retiring about the same time that engine comes in, or maybe a little bit before, and we'll sell it and utilize some of that money to help pay for the deficit. But if the city does decide that the police department doesn't need that Chevrolet pickup, the truck committee would request that be reallocated to the fire department if that's an option, to pull our side-by-side and utility trailer and use it as a command
I
vehicle.
think we could reallocate it if that's what we end up doing, can we not?
Sure, if you own it.
Yeah.
That's an option that we would appreciate.
And you're saying we can give y'all the truck for no cost for just, and take that off the balance we owe, or?
I mean, that would be reasonable to us.
Because, I mean, Dixon and Martin both said that they were not gonna use that half ton in the first place. That it was just gonna sit there.
Let's
Is
put
that
this
the
on
black
the
one?
agenda for next time and move on, because if it's not on the agenda, we can't talk, we can't make an action on it. So let's put it down to be on the agenda next time and make it happen, because what y'all think we'll do.
Okay, so, number 23 just needs to be tabled, right? Item 23?
Take no action.
No action. Yeah, no action, okay. So I would receive a motion for that, please.
I make a motion that we take no action on item number 23, approval of awarding for Chief Martin's contract.
I second.
Motion and second to take no action on item number 23. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed say no. And motion carries. Item 24, election equipment and hard drive for voting machines. Bobby may have some information, but I have some too, and maybe maybe she'll have some to add to it. We've talked to Chastity, because of the runoffs and things like that, they have to dedicate the machines that they have for that purpose, and they cannot change those machines. They're called V drives, I think. It's got the city's information and everything on it. They can't change that until 90 days. They'll take us after the runoff elections, for the state. So that causes a problem for us when we have our local elections here. We're talking with them, talking to Chastity, and talking to, what's the name of that company, Bobby? Hart Company. We can actually purchase the equipment ourselves. They're like $60-something a piece for the hard drive. To absolutely get everything going, it's going to take about 6 of them. It's recommended that we have some extra. Well, I know, but I was fixing, take 6 of them to just get everything done. It's recommended that we buy 10. That way we have those things set for our city. We'll never have that problem again. You have to have some in case one breaks down. You have another V drive that you could swap out. And anyway, that's recommended. If we buy 10, that's something over $600 for 10. Did I leave anything else?
I had about an hour-long discussion with Chastity over this, and I was originally told that we didn't have any voting machines. There were no voting machines to be used. We had to buy our own machine. And she said, no, that's not quite right. We've got the voting machines, but we don't have the hard drives. With all the elections and the runoffs and everything, she's used every hard drive she's got. What she's suggesting to us is we can rent the machines from the county, pursuant to what the price that the county commission has set for those. But if we bought our own drives, costs $660 to buy those. She said we can keep the hard drives in City Hall, or she can keep them and put them in her election vault, and they will have our name put on them, and they'll be used for our elections from here on out. They can be rewritten after 60 days. But the 60-day mark from the elections that were had is our election day. And they have to be sent off to somebody to be reprogrammed, so that there's not enough time to do it. If we buy those 10, we can, we'll have a reader and a writer that can be used to hold our elections. We can rent those from them. One of the questions I asked, if we buy our own drives, does that lessen the cost of renting the equipment? And it does not. What they were doing is just letting us use their drives when they had the drives to be able to do that. They don't have that anymore. So in order for us to rent that equipment and use it, we're going to have to buy 10 of these drives. It costs $660. The alternative is buy our own equipment.
$22,705, $21,788. I have some quotes.
Yeah.
There is.
And that was my question. I asked her, why, could we buy our own equipment? And she said, sure, but, when you see the price of it, it's gonna be a lot cheaper to just rent it from the county and buy your own hard drive.
Do we know what it costs to rent from the county?
She told me $250, but I have not seen an invoice that's that fact, so, but I'm sure we could go in and look at previous elections, what they cost.
Some of the elections, in the past, we spent somewhere in the neighborhood, maybe a little less than $3,000, but that's printing ballots and all those things. There is a third option, or another option is actually out there, but it's going strictly paper ballots. But then you got to pay people to come in and do the counting. There's expense and stuff involved with all that. The simplest and more accurate way, I believe, in my opinion, is for us to purchase these V drives and then use the machines as we have them available. They got plenty of machines apparently. So, but otherwise, we're either going to have to do that or buy our own equipment, which does not sound like a good option, or go straight paper voting. And there's other costs, as I said, there's other costs involved in that as well. And I told Chastity that we would know something tonight, and I would let her know tomorrow. Because she's got to prepare for the runoffs, and so we can't spend a whole lot of time, making our mind up. We have to make a motion.
We buy the 10 hard drives and continue to lease the equipment.
Where's this money, do we have a line item budget for this?
There's a line item in the budget for that.
Let's see if I don't know if I wrote my note down here. I did not, but it's $3,000 is on the line item.
I'll second Texas motion.
Motion and a second to purchase the V drives and rent the equipment from county. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Item 25. This is a Lowe's grant. It's a nomination. Lowe's has a project that they're doing all around the country. And it's my understanding, you correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that at some point they're going to select 100 small towns. I guess it could be maybe a average size or bigger town. I'm not sure if there's any limits on that. But they have money. I do not know what amount of money that they have as a total, but they're offering grant money for things. Now, Teresa talked to somebody, and she put the bug in her ear, and she contacted me and I went out, and you have to make an application. I went out and looked at it. It's a very simple application. It's actually a nomination. What you do, they ask you who you are, you know, where your city, schools can do it, different entities like that, but it's not open for just every person or everything. So anyway, the bottom line is, we can send the nomination in. They have a selection committee. They'll read all these nominations, and based on what our needs are, they will make a decision. And we might be lucky enough to get whatever the grant money is. One of the lines that is on there, and I took the liberty to go ahead and fill out the form, put all the city's information and all those kinds of things and send it in, because like I say, it's just a nomination. And so there was a line that said, you know, how much money do you think the project is going to cost? So I, based on some of our conversations with the work out here in this building, somewhere I think I've $30-something thousand or something to do all that work together, and I'm assuming it was for the whole building. So yeah, so I put $50,000 on the line and said, you know, that's what we're going to need. There was a question there that says, would the money completely fund the project? I said yes, completely. You know, we haven't started it. We're not collecting any funds anywhere. So I filled out all that information to the affirmative, and I emailed it back to them. We got a nice little letter thanking me for doing that. So that money is out there in the loop anyway, or the approval. Had to get it in by March the 20th. So I said, okay, I'm going to send this thing in and tell you guys about it, and then we'll wait and see what happens. So there's a possibility we could get some funds by which we can use here on this building and facility.
There is a deadline for the project to be finished. It has to be finished by December 26th of this year. And I asked Chris, and he said yes. The guy said yes, he could have it finished by then.
And I answered it that way as well. I said yes.
He said as long as he can come in here and get it done,
Yeah.
and not have to stop.
Yeah.
I think the project has to be started by sometime in July. I can't remember the.
I'll have to look at the thing, but
There's a thing that tells you all the terms and stuff that you have to do, but.
there's no real, particular things that the city has to do necessarily. There's some instructions in there that says, well, you know, if they may come back and ask other questions or something like that. But you know, that's part of that selection process that they'll be going through. So yes, sir.
When will you know?
I can't answer that. I don't know yet. They will communicate with me. I just got the letter that they received it yesterday. So they will communicate with me, and I put Bobby's name down as a contact person. I haven't told her yet.
It has to be before the project has to be started. So sometime before July, we should hear something.
So hopefully, keep your fingers crossed when you're out praying for things. You know, pray for that Lowe's grant money, and we'll see how it goes.
So you guys probably need to do some sort of motion to ratify the mayor's conduct to allow, because that's what I understood you did it in between council meetings.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a so the records are clear. So in 10 years, they'll look up and say, how the heck did we get this? So there needs to be a motion to ratify the application for the Lowe's project in the amount of, what, $50,000?
50, yes.
That's what it is.
I make a motion that we approve the mayor applying for the Lowe's grant in the amount of $50,000.
The magic word is ratification. I love the word.
Ratification.
That's the magic word.
Yeah.
Bobby worded the way he said it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the what he said. That's not about Hoyle, but you know, we get it. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Skip I-26, we've already dealt with that one. Sanitation solutions, increase I got notification from Sanitation Solution, there's a 5.1 increase. It actually kicks in, I believe it's this month. You should have a copy of that in your packet. Whichever staff you got. I know I got one somewhere. Yeah. Okay, there's one sheet there. I don't know if y'all were color coded like this or not, but the one sheet is got two different sides to it that's showing that there's what we're currently paying, what we're paying for the poly cars are like 14.47, going to go up to 15.22. My recommendation for this was not for something that happens now, but that we implement this with the next budget cycle. We're not losing any money. We're only making, I think it's about a 75-cent increase overall.
We're charging what, $20 for a
We're charging 20.
Okay, and it's going to 15.22.
No, this is what we pay for it. We charge 20, but what we're paying is 14.47, but it's going.
They're gonna start charging the
Charging
city.
us 15.22.
15.22, but we're still charging $20.
Yeah.
That's why Evan did that, that's why Evan did that adjustment.
We wouldn't necessarily have to go up on the charges to the citizens.
Oh, you don't have to. That's just.
That's what I'm saying. We're still.
Even if
I just wanted y'all to know that there's a price increase that's going to hit. Now you take, that's about a 75-cent difference if I remember correctly. You multiply that times 556 folks. I mean, then you see what kind of money that makes. But you don't have to do necessarily either. But my recommendation is that we consider it for the budget cycle, for the next budget cycle.
So that's just information.
Yeah, I mean, unless y'all just want to just not do it at all. I mean, it's up to y'all. But
So currently we're charging $23.91 and we're going up to $25.15.
we're currently charging a customer $20 for the trash service. That's for one poly car. If you have two, then there's a $12 charge added to that.
What's
for
your
the second.
reason?
The way this is,
Commercial.
hold on, the way this is written, it says right now, if they hand collect the garbage, we're charging $14.47, but we're charging $23.91 for qualified. That's what's on this piece of paper.
Let me see where you're seeing that.
I don't think it's labeled right on here, is what I'm.
Well, I know the first one says residential hand collect. He did tell me that should be just polycarb. That was misled.
Is the second one for a second poly?
The second one would be for the polycarb. That would be the difference between, that's for two polycarbs, $23.91.
Okay. So what I think that's supposed to be is the top number is the first polycarb, and then this bottom number is for two polycarb.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So now it's 20 and 12, so that would be a 32 if you have two.
So Dakota, right here is for residents, this down here is commercial. So really, we don't need to deal with this until we work on the 26-27 budget.
Yeah, I just want y'all to know, basically, I mean, I don't recommend do anything right now with this, but that we consider this for the next budget cycle.
All right. So we don't need to take any action on 27?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Chamber of Commerce membership, we received a statement, or I guess a invoice, thank you, from Chamber of Commerce, $100 for the new payment of that fee.
Is that Red River County
Red
or?
River County,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
What is the benefit of being part of the Chamber of Commerce? I don't think everybody knows the benefits.
Well, I mean, the benefits is they do some of the business, when businesses come in, they come in and they, I think the big thing is that you say you're part member of the chamber. But, I could actually get James to come up here and actually talk more about what kind of things they do. I know he comes by every so often and talks about the city, talks about different things, and how they can. One of the things that, when he sent the invoice in, they're looking at the possibility of starting a newspaper. It'd be totally funded by advertisement and those kinds of things. It's still in the works. It's not something that they are doing right away, but they are asking, for information if the city would like to consider using that. What we would do is, for events and things like that would come up, we would send that into them, and they would publish it. It would be a weekly newspaper. It's still in the process, but they're actually just like asking who wants this, who wants to support it, that kind of thing. Like I say, the funding would be done through their advertisement efforts. So that's one of the things. I met with some folks here a few months ago about all of Red River County and what kind of needs we have. So this kind of follows that line. Each little city has very many things that are very similar as far as needs. Some of them have a few little things that are a little different than the other cities. And so there's discussions and efforts about how can we improve Red River County. So this is one of those things that the chamber felt like they wanted to implement and be part of. But they need folks to tell them, hey, I think it's a good idea, or no, I don't want it. And as that information comes out, well, then I'll certainly put that out to everybody too.
I make a motion, we approve the $100 membership to the Chamber of Commerce of Red River County.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve the $100 invoice for the chamber. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Financial review audit status.
You better get one pretty quick. Say it's been 6 years.
I've reached out to the guy that said he would do our audit. He said he's trying to wrap up 6 other cities' audits, and he will get ours started.
Here's the race.
If there is anybody out there in
That does
Facebook land that does audits or knows somebody that does audits, please reach out to the city of Bogota, because I've only found one person in Norman, Oklahoma that's willing to take on our audit. And he has 6 other cities that he's trying to finish up. So if y'all know of anybody, please send them our way. I've reached out to several and they've all told me no.
I get the issue, and it's a big one, because everybody on this in council knows we don't have an audit, we're stuck with the same tax rate, period. And I don't know if there'll be any other things happen or not, but unaudited cities generally don't get grants, they don't get monies. So it's as significant as selling 6 of those police cars over there, is to get one, and I understand the difficulty, but it is a problem. It is a huge problem. So focus. That's all I got to say.
All right, other comments? We already have approved, for audits, so I don't think we need to do anything on this, but other than express the emergency, we really are. We really need to get this done. Everything, when it comes to the government now, I think what Mr. Hamilton was saying, if you kind of slide by a little bit as far as grant monies and those kinds of things, but everything when it comes to money, audits are the first thing they ask for. So we've got to have it if we're going to take any grant money in the future.
can I ask a question on money real quick? Something that y'all had alluded to earlier? Go ahead. I used to do commercials, doesn't bother me at all. As far as the total combined debt, you had said that earlier that there was a payment plan. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I know some people had asked as far as the fire department, that the $142,888 is going to be paid out over 4 years that's owed to them at $2976.83 is what it says on the budget. I was just gonna make sure I had the right one, but they will get paid off within the next 4 years on that.
And now that we have the budget passed, we can start paying that money, so.
We'll need as much of it as we can come next spring.
Pardon?
Yeah,
We'll need as much of it as we can get come next spring when we have to take delivery on that
Right,
truck.
right,
That's
right.
less what I'm buying.
yeah. I mean, is there any way some of the money that went to the crime control board could actually go to the fire department? Because I mean, since the
Sure, I don't,
You're getting into business that you don't need to be in. Thank you very much.
well, as a citizen, I'm just concerned in case my house burns down that we have a fire department.
Ain't gonna be answered tonight.
Right,
Not
right,
business. So,
right, yeah. Want to make sure we got a fire department, that's all.
absolutely. All right, then I would entertain a motion to,
Make a motion.
motion and second to, stop this meeting.
You shouldn't have stopped.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.